Hi, Dad. The other day in class, I heard some kids talking about these men who used to live in our town called Texas Rangers. They said all sorts of horrible things about them and how they were mean and unkind to so many people. How come we don't learn about them in school? I can't believe that used to happen here. Hi, sweetie. I'm glad they told you about them because I think it's important to know the rich and unsettling history of our town. I do know about Texas Rangers because I was told more and more stories about them as I grew older. There were some really scary Texas Rangers who were horrible to people, but there were also a couple who did some good things. Can I tell you a story about a good guy ranger? I don't know, Dad. I don't really believe you. I can't believe I didn't know this was happening. Oh, come on, Claire. Just a quick story. Okay, one story, but it better have a good guy in it. Don't worry, it will. It all starts with a man named Joaquin Jackson. He was a former Texas Ranger, and he worked in Zavala County not too far from here. Before his career as a ranger, he was part of the Marines and is a longtime director of the NRA. People in the town of Zavala often thought of him as cruel and cold-blooded for his relentlessness during his time as a ranger. But in the district election in 1972, he proved he wanted the best for the people in the town of Zavala. Have you ever heard of the La Raza Unida Party? No, who are they? They're a third-party political movement advocating for Chicanx representation politically and economically. They're actually still around today. Both the Democratic and Republican parties were not advocating fully for the rights deserved by Chicanx people within the community, causing them to create their own political party. Especially at the time of its founding in the 1960s, but also even today, the South Texas town it was founded in was predominantly Chicanx, and political representation of the Chicanx population was marginal. In the words of one of the group's founders, Jose Gutierrez, a partial solution to our current dilemma in the political area lies in our developing party for the promotion and protection of our interests. There is no reason why we should not be the masters of our destiny, and all we have to do is look around us to see why we must. Their goal was to enact change within communities and instill strong local leadership with the ultimate goal of raising change throughout the nation. In the first 4 years after the group's establishment, especially in the state of Texas, local involvement in the party was vast and animated. During this time, student and youth organizations were similarly advocating for Chicanx rights, organizing protests and walkouts to push their educational agenda. The Chicana movement was strong and multifaceted. Ooh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. Yes, but the story here is really about the election of 1972 in Zavala County. Texas Ranger Jackson was driving around patrolling different precinct voting stations, making sure there was no trouble. At one precinct, as soon as he drove up, he knew things weren't going well. There were many protesters from the La Raza Unida party standing outside, boisterously protesting what was going on. Jackson got out of his car and was approached by the leader of the party, Jose Gutierrez, who came to him with frustration. Gutierrez was a well-known figure in terms of activism because of his leadership roles within the Mexican American Youth Organization, which ended up manifesting into the big ideas communicated in the UNIDA party. The Mexican American Youth Organization called for educational reforms, including support for bilingual and bicultural education, the hiring of Mexicano teachers and administrators, the introduction of Chicano studies classes into the curriculum, and an end to punishing children for speaking Spanish in schools. His role in organizing walkouts, boycotts, and marches to enact the social change made him well known as a strong organizer and activist. The people gathering from the La Raza Unida party were worried, and rightly so, about election corruption. By law, poll watchers were allowed to be in the building, watching for signs of corrupt electoral practices. Police officers at the station had been removing all Chicano poll watchers, increasing the outrage. In Zavala County specifically, the prospect of election corruption resulting in the election of a leader further perpetuating repressive policies was strong, prompting protest. Gutierrez delivered a speech 2 years earlier reflecting these issues, arguing, "You got a medium educational level among Mexicanos in Zavala County of 2.3 grades. In La Salle, it's just a little worse, about 1.5 grades. The median family income in La Salle is $1,574 a year. In Zavala, it's about $1,754. The ratio of doctors, the number of newspapers, the health, housing, hunger, malnutrition, illiteracy, poverty, lack of political representation, all these things put together spell out one word: colonialism. You've got a handful of gringos controlling the lives of many Mexicanos. and it's been that way for a long time. Because of these reasons, the need for someone advocating for change within Zavala County proved to be of utmost importance. By the time Jackson showed up to the scene, the commotion was nothing short of a riot. Jackson knew the law, and that was something he abided by. He heard Gutierrez's concerns and went to talk to the election judge to bring up the concern. The election judge didn't take Jackson's side, instead saying everyone needed to leave the building. With some nudging from Gutierrez and a look at the Texas election code, which was clearly in violation here, Jackson went to talk to the district judge. He eventually negotiated to have 2 poll watchers in the building, which is less than the law states but still makes a compromise. Gutierrez and the UNITA party were surprised Jackson helped their side, but here he felt like he was fulfilling his legal duty. He actually did a kind of good thing in this instance. I never heard of stories of rangers like him, but you said he was known for being cruel during his time as a ranger. What did he do? I don't really understand how he could be good and bad at the same time. I don't think I can forgive him for doing bad things just because he did one good thing this one time. You're certainly right, Clara. The things he did early on in his career were cruel and unforgivable. He always said before anything else he was a ranger, and to him that meant upholding antiquated and repressive beliefs that not only silenced many people's voices, but further excluded many Chicanx people from living with any sense of safety in their communities. And by no means do I excuse him for that. I don't agree that he's a good guy ranger like you said. The story you told was about a long time ago, but things like that are still happening today. The man you talked about all of a sudden became a hero just because he stood up for the people's voices that are often muffled a single time. We need to stand up for people like that all the time. I don't think he was a good guy ranger. I think what he did was good, but he should act that way all the time. And people nowadays should do the same.